So if you want to not serve on a jury, during voir dire, you know what voir dire is? In other words, they go through this process of questioning each prospective juror. During voir dire, just act intelligent. All right? That's all you have to do. You'll be dismissed for cause. Tell them you believe in jury nullification, or you believe that maybe we need to reform the drug laws, which we do. We need reform. I didn't say we need to abolish them, but we need some reform. You'll be off that jury in a heartbeat. Okay? You won't have to serve. They'll say, thank you, and please don't ever come back. They want stupid people on juries. And people who do want to serve can't get on them. So that's where we are today. Now, what is my real worry here? I was going to do a whole different section on the Security and Prosperity Partnership, but I'm already 48 minutes in. So, how long do you people want to stay anyway? Huh? Okay. Ron Paul, if you remember that one of the questions during the debates that was called in by a supposedly random caller, though it turned out that CNN was staging a lot of those. It was CNN, wasn't it, Carol, or MSNBC? I thought it was CNN. Tried to pin him on this whole conspiracy theory nonsense. There is a difference between a conspiracy and an agenda. The agenda to create a North American Union has been long-lived. If you go back in the literature, meaning read what is being said in the think tanks, you can find all of this thought going back there. In essence, our form of government is being changed without our consent. You know, there really are globalists. Ron Paul's right. There really are globalists who want to see national sovereignty abolished and the U.S. merged into a supranational regional government. They've said so. All right? Let's go back and do some trailing on this. I want to go back all the way to 1974. Council on Foreign Relations Journal, Foreign Affairs, which I always call a trailer for what's coming to a government near you. Okay? If you want to see what the policy of government is going to be in the next year, read the CFR Journal, Council on Foreign Affairs. I apologize, I'm tired. It's been a real long run this week. There was an article published by Richard Gardner, The Hard Road to World Order. He says, the House of World Order, see, this term has been used for 60 years by people advocating global government. World order, new world order, global governance, it's all interchangeable terms. Will have to be built from the bottom up rather than the top down. But an end run around national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. Did you hear what he just said? We can't take it head on because everybody will react and they'll tar and feather us and burn us alive. So we're going to do it piece by doing an end run around what? Ultimately, the Constitution. He said the hopeful aspect of the present situation is that even as nations resist appeals for world government, this is 1974, and the surrender of sovereignty, technological, economic, and political interests are forcing them to establish more and more far-reaching arrangements to manage their mutual interdependence. All right, let's jump forward 20 years. State of the World Forum in San Francisco, which was inaugurated by President Mikhail Gorbachev of the former Soviet Union, who saw the light and became a card-carrying capitalist. I'm sure you all believe that. It was sort of a clam bake for people advocating global governance. I have the audio copy of this. Here's what he said. We cannot leap into world government through one quick step. That's what he's talking about, world government. The precondition for eventual and genuine globalization is progressive regionalization, because by that we move toward larger, more stable, more cooperative units. Now, what's he talking about there? All right, what he's saying is that if you're going to have a global government, the first thing you have to do is block the countries of the world together in regional units. Because once they're blocked together and they have harmonized their laws, which is what is going on right now with these 20-some committees at the Security and Prosperity Partnership to harmonize the laws of the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, once they're formed into these blocks, then those blocks can be then merged into bigger blocks, and ultimately we'll get to where we want to go. And that was the agreement we're just getting into now, into the transatlantic agreements now on new unions going there. But Zbigniew Brzezinski was talking about this 10 years ago. By 1998, I read an article in Canada that the discussions were underway for the merging of the U.S. and Canada. All right? So when I was up in British Columbia on holiday, we're sitting at a bed and breakfast and, coffee. And you never want to do this when your host has a cup of coffee in his mouth, okay? Because you'll be, like this. But, hey, what do you think about the proposal to abolish the border between the U.S. and Canada? And so he's eating. Well, you mean free trade, eh? That was it. No, I mean abolish the border. And it was like this. There was no. And I said, okay, well, that tells me how much the Canadians know about this whole thing. So we have this Security and Prosperity Partnership. We have this Trans-Texas Corridor. And the governor of Texas, Governor Perry, is trying to tell us, no, there is no corridor. This is just work on another freeway in Texas, right? First of all, they denied it. That was the first step. Then the second step, when it became impossible to deny, then they wouldn't let people see what it was all about. I mean, state legislators in Texas had to start demanding, we want to see this. What's going on here? And then it's, well, okay, yeah, I guess we do have this corridor. Okay, yes, I guess it's 8 lanes wide and 2 railroad tracks and sort of a quarter of an acre on either side. And it runs all the way up Texas, and then it stops at the Oklahoma border. Well, what are they going to do? Put turnarounds? You know, you go up this off-ramp around that one and, you know, Dallas back to San Antonio or something? I don't know. What is it? So they're saying ridiculous things like this. And then all of a sudden people began to let things slip. Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, was on Larry King Live on October 10th, 2007. Larry King said, I'd like to know how you feel about the possibility of having a Latin American united with one currency. And Vicente Fox says, oh, long term, very long term. What we proposed together, President Bush and myself, is ALCA, which means Área de Libre Comercio de las Américas, which is the acronym for the FTAA in Spanish. That's their version of it. Which is a trade union for all of the Americas, he said. And he said, oh, and everything was running well until Hugo Chavez came and he decided to isolate himself. Because originally the region they were talking about 10 to 15 years ago was the entire Americas. Right? So that's not working. So they've fallen back and done a reblock. So then Larry King says, is it going to be like the Eurodollar? Now remember, there's been denial that we're talking about a common currency like an Amero or something like that to unite, even though the World Bank had been proposing that North America get an Amero currency to unite the 3 countries. You can find that. And Fox says, well, that would be long term. And I was thinking when I heard him say that, pues sí, 2, 3 años, 2 or 3 years, you know, maybe that's long term or something like that. But Fox says exactly what Zbigniew Brzezinski said 10 years earlier. I think the process is a first step into a trading agreement, and then further on, a new vision like we're trying to do with NAFTA. See, so he let it slip, and you could see this. Even Larry King's face began to look a little uncertain. It's like, oops, or I'm sorry, in Spanish, opisito. Okay, I've gone a little too far. All right. Now, on November 20th, just about a month later, Lieutenant Governor John Harvard of Manitoba delivered a speech from the throne, is what it's called. It's the initializing speech of the Parliament of the province of Manitoba in Canada. And here's what he said. Now remember, all along, Governor Perry and President Bush are denying that we're doing anything here with Mexico and the U.S. and Canada in terms of this corridor and free trade and having customs areas where there will be a Mexican customs office in Kansas City and that all products will come in through Lázaro Cárdenas and go up through Kansas City and on out, etc. Here's what he said in his speech. Quote, Manitoba has been working with the Canadian government and state governments in the U.S. to protect and enhance our access to key trade markets. In response to U.S. border and security measures, Manitoba will begin offering an enhanced driver's license as an affordable and secure form of identification for travelers. They want a common identity card for all of us. It'll be the same license, U.S., Canada, Mexico. The new license will be available in the fall of 2008. Manitoba is also taking a major role in the development of a mid-continent trade corridor connecting our northern port of Churchill with trade markets throughout the central United States and Mexico. He just said, President Bush and Governor Perry are lying to you. One of these guys is lying. All right. To advance the concept, an alliance has been built with business leaders and state and city governments spanning the entire length of the corridor. When fully developed, the trade route will incorporate an inland port in Winnipeg with pre-clearance for international shipping. This is underway. We are changing the form of our government as we watch. We are turning control of our government, vast chunks of our sovereignty, over to international, supranational organizations that are neither elected nor accountable nor even identifiable. Can any of you name who the judges are, say, for example, involved with NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement? We don't know who they are. Sometimes it's even hard to find out who they are. They don't want to tell you who they are. What's America's crisis coming? And that will wrap us down here tonight. We're going to face an energy shortage of incredible proportions. The dollar is dying. We're facing serious economic issues that are not resolvable without a lot of pain. That's basically it.